As a former coach and current teacher, I know that sports teach our kids so much more than how to play the game. And they did the same thing for me when I was a kid. While playing sports, I learned the importance of teamwork. I learned what it looks like to be a good loser and a good winner. And I found out about the connection between hard work and feeling pride in what you accomplish, regardless of the score. These lessons have stayed with me long after I left the fields. If you have young children in your life, you don't need to wait for them to get out to the diamonds, rinks, or courts to start learning some of those important lessons. Sideline Monsters Baseball Edition, a new book by Emily Harder, follows a young baseballer as they discover how to stay focused, brave, and joyful, even when the monsters get noisy. The sideline monsters in the story clap too loudly, shout too many instructions, or make funny faces when the game gets close. They don't mean any harm, but they sure can make things confusing. The book is perfect for children ages 4 through 8, but there are plenty of lessons in the story for parents, coaches, and anyone else who is a fan of youth sports. The monsters in the book are silly, the story is empowering, and the ending reminds us all that the game is supposed to be fun. Sideline Monsters Baseball Edition is available wherever you get your books in hardcover, paperback, or digital. And now, on with the show. I've got another international happiness hack for you this week. Once again, we're traveling to Scandinavia. And if you remember a previous episode featuring the World Happiness Report, you'll know that countries there often top the list. And also, once again, I'm going to apologize to any native Swedish speakers out there, as I undoubtedly butcher your beautiful language. This is Lessons We Forgot, and this episode is called Lagom. When I was growing up, my family had a tradition of going out for pizza to celebrate our birthdays. And I'm sure, just like many other families out there, we had our own favorite spot in town that we'd always go to. Ours was a little family-owned place that my mom and aunt discovered in college. As I got older, I started my own tradition of eating one piece of pizza for every year older I got. Now, this is not Chicago-style deep dish, or even the crust-heavy Detroit-style pizza. So, actually, it was pretty manageable when I was fairly young. But as I got older, the task became more and more daunting. I really like pizza, and pizza from this place especially. But as you might imagine, there is indeed too much of a good thing, no matter what that thing is. I don't remember when I abandoned my pizza eating mission, but I'm pretty sure I went a few years past when it was a practical endeavor, and there were some times when I left the restaurant in pretty bad shape. As an adult, I tend to try not to indulge in such self-destructive behavior, but I'll admit that there are still plenty of times when I finish a meal feeling like I might have gone too far. Finding your happy place can be challenging sometimes. It's hard not to think about what is missing in your life, how having a little more would surely make things so much better, or how great it'd be if you could go back and change a few things. However, for many Swedes, happiness does not come from changing your situation, or from getting more things. Instead, it comes from finding contentment in what you have, or from finding the right balance in your life right now. The Swedish word lagom translates to just the right amount, and it's all about finding that happy medium. It's really common for us to think that by doing more at school, we'll be better teachers. But just like with eating pizza, more does not mean you and your students will necessarily have a better experience. I love gamifying my classroom, but we can't play games every day. My students do not agree with that statement, by the way. Watching your students play sports, play their instruments, or act in the play is a great way to build relationships with them, but you cannot be there for all of them. Giving your students feedback, contacting parents, and joining committees and clubs at school are important things for school culture. But you need some time for your own family and your own needs too. You need to not be constantly exhausted. You need to be able to be happy in the classroom. Instead of looking for more or the best, look for lagom, the amount that is just right. The Swedes are not the only people to have figured this out. The ancient Greeks called it the golden mean. Buddhists refer to it as the middle way. And even Goldilocks figured out that the secret to happiness is to avoid the extremes. This doesn't just apply to things like porridge, chairs, and beds either. For us in the classroom, that might mean finding a balance between our time at school and time spent with friends and family. It might be deciding when to grind and when to take a break. Sometimes it's even deciding between what's best for our students and what we need to get through the day. More is not necessarily always the best answer, but neither is less. When you have to make decisions like that, always strive for Lagom. That will always be just right. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of Lessons We Forgot. I'm the host, Chris Winkle. You can contact me at lessonsweforgot@gmail.com, and you can follow the show or message Lessons We Forgot on Facebook. Either way, I'd love to hear from you and welcome you to our community. If you really enjoyed this episode, please consider sharing it with a friend. That is the best way to help grow the podcast. If you want to hear more Lessons We Forgot, I post new episodes on Sunday nights. Make sure you subscribe to follow the show on whatever podcast platform you use. And when you rate the show, like an episode, or leave a comment, we can reach even more listeners. If you hate ads just like me, I do have a Patreon site, patreon.com/lessonsweforgot, and for only $1 a month, you can get the show without ads. You can try that out right now for free to see if it's something you'd be interested in. Thanks again for your support.